Welcome back. Now in this video we're going to be discussing traffic generation using solo ads. Now solo ads are the fastest and most effective way to find information seekers that will eventually become your product buyers. Now you will be able to use solo ads to get targeted leads. A solo ad is basically a marketer that already has a list that will be sending out your offer to their list, and you will actually pay that marketer in order to do that. Now, the reason that is so powerful and the reason that it is effective is because you get instant feedback either on your freebie and ultimately your offer. Whatever you are sending out to that marketer's list and you are paying them for, you get instant feedback. You find out about your headlines, you find out about your email copy, you find out what's going to work with real buyers and people who are interested in the products and services that you are going to be offering. Now, solo ads are really made to pre-sell the prospect. So you will not be sending them from that solo ad. We just talked about that briefly. You will not expect that prospect to click an ad inside of the solo ad and go to your sales page. You want to send them to an offer to become part of your list where you can pre-sell them so that you can get them into an email marketing funnel where you can market to them by email. So your job in the solo ad is to get them to opt in. Now, in order to do that, one of the things that you want to make sure you're doing so that you know what the visitors are doing when they come to your page from the solo ad is to make sure you're using a program like Google Analytics. Prospect to click the link in the solo ad and then to become part of your list. Now, as a result of that, the solo ad and the squeeze page should be consistent or congruent. They should be directly related. You don't want someone to click the solo ad and then get to the squeeze page and see something entirely different. They should expect to have their question answered. Whatever issue you raised or whatever problem you raised to get them to click that link, and whatever you talked about in that email, it should be consistent with what they're going to find when they get to your squeeze page, when they click the link. Now, once the buyer has been added to your email, that is when you want to send them to your offer. Right? So you can either send them directly from the time that they actually get confirmed on your email, or you can send them a link in an email, a follow-up email, where they're going to get access to see your sales page. They're going to get access to see what it is that you are actually offering. You want to make sure that as soon after you get them into your marketing funnel that you make an offer to them of your most present or your most recent product and or service. Now, what is a solo ad? What are the nuts and bolts? Well, a solo ad is basically a short message with 200 words. You're going to have the URL going to the same website. You're going to have it in there 3 times. You're going to want to have one about 1/3 of the way down, one about 2/3 of the way down, and one at the end of your email. Now, of course, you want to make sure that they are in logical places. When you have made your case, you've made your point, you want to put a link in there. And basically, one of the things that you can do in order to write an effective solo ad is to make sure that you are building a swipe file. You should have a number of emails that are effective, that are about 200 words, that you can use the style in order to craft your own email. Now, you are really building on their curiosity, right, in a solo ad. You don't want to tell them everything that they're going to see. You want to make them click that link and get into your marketing funnel. You've got to draw that prospect in so that they will then, when they see your offer, they will then be looking at something that they might actually be interested in buying. But once again, as is the case with any other marketing you're going to be doing. You want to make it easy for the solo advertiser. You don't want them to have to guess at what you're going to guess at what your product does. You don't want them to have to write the email. You want to write everything that they need, and you want to give it to them so that all they've got to do is put it inside of their email and send it out to their people. A solo ad is basically you're paying to get access to a marketer's list, and you're going to send out an email. Now, solo ad vendors. One of the things that you should be asking every solo ad vendor, right, before you decide to sign up with them, before you decide to pay them, you want to find out how big their list is. You want to find out whether or not they have the capacity to send visitors to your page by doing a mailing. You want to find out how they built their list. That's going to be pretty important because depending on how they built their list, that will determine how effective your marketing is going to be with them. Now, this is where you really want to pay attention. You should be paying a solo ad vendor for clicks, right? You're paying for clicks. You want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth, and the only way that you can really quantify that is to pay for clicks. And you want to ask the solo ad vendor, you want to get a sense for, will your list like this offer? Ask them, find out if offers like yours have done well. If you're going to pay advertising, you're going to pay for someone to see your offer, you want to make sure that once they opt in, that this is the kind of offer that's going to do well. And the solo ad vendor should know because more than likely they've built their list by creating a product that was sold. Now, you also want to know how old the list is. Okay, the older the list is, it's probably going a little stale and it tends to be less responsive. So you like to have a list that's fresh, you like to have a list that's fairly recent. You don't want to have a list that's kind of been out there because people are then a little more immune to the email and they are less likely to open them. They might just still be on the list just because it's a habit to be. Now, one of the ways you can find solo ad vendors, of course, is to just Google solo ad or email advertising. We are going to talk about some places where you can find some solo ad vendors. Now, other than Googling solo ad email advertising, you can also take a look at some places like the Warrior Forum, the solo ad marketplace, and social media groups. Now, let's take a look at what we mean by that. If you visit the Warrior Forum and you go to the Warrior Forum classified ad section, we're just going to click that forum right now. We will come to the inside and you're going to see a number of ads where you can actually get solo ads. Now, one of the good things about the solo ads that are being presented here in the Warrior Forum is that typically those who have actually bought the solo ad will come back and verify as to whether or not their experience was a good one in the actual thread. So you will be able to not only search inside of this particular forum, but you will also just be able to browse the forum to find good solo ad advertisers. And you will be able to ask those solo ad advertisers the questions that we just talked about. So indeed, solo ad vendors can be found on the Warrior Forum. They can also be found in a place called the Solo Ad Marketplace. Now, we are going to just sign into the Solo Ad Marketplace. And we're going to see a couple of things here. Now, we want to then just take a look for the solo ads that we want. Maybe we might do it according to the niche that we're in, but we can start with internet marketing or business opportunities here. And we are then going to see solo ads that we can order. Now, one of the things that we can do, of course, is we can sort them by rating before we start looking at asking some of the key questions that we want to ask about the solo ad provider. You'll notice some of these solo ad providers, some of them have what is designated as a top seller. Some of them have, they literally have ratings of 100%. So you will be able to get a sense for the experience that other people have had with a specific solo ad provider by coming to the solo ad marketplace. you'll be able to find other providers that do take payment in order for you to mail to their list. Now, one of the things that you can do inside of the social networks, and we're just going to do Facebook in this particular case, is we can search inside of Facebook for solo ad groups and other solo ad providers. Now, obviously, these are going to be advertisements, but we can, by participating in Facebook groups and other gatherings where there are marketers, we're literally going to be able to see other solo ad providers and those that from whom others have had a good experience. Now, one last note on finding solo ad providers is this, and you are going to be able to find good solo ad providers by asking other marketers, and you can do that very easily on social media. All you've got to use is the messaging button. If you want to talk to someone privately, send them a message if they are already connected with you, if you have connected with other marketers, and ask them if they know of good solo ad providers. It is now easier than ever before to connect with other internet marketers. One of the things that you don't want to worry about is competition. Those within internet marketing know and understand that because you're making sales doesn't mean that they cannot. And because you're getting good traction from a solo ad provider doesn't mean that they cannot. So find experienced marketers in your friend list and ask them if they know of good solo ad providers. It's really that simple inside of social media to find good, solid solo ad vendors. Now, what should you be spending with respect to solo ads? You should be looking to spend between 20 and 50 cents per click. And you really should be, as we said before, analyzing this from a click perspective and not so much, how much you're paying. You should be looking for a certain number of clicks. And you want to start small. Before you really start to get into paying large numbers for clicks, you want to start out with 200 clicks. Get a sense for what's happening with the solo ad and what is really going to work in terms of your copy before you start looking to get up into the hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars in terms of solo ads. Okay, once you figure out how to cover your costs, right? Once you figure out how to generate enough sales in order to cover your ads, then you want to stay small until you get that process at the point where you can really execute it on a consistent basis. Now, what do we mean by covering your costs? You want to be able to generate sales from that solo ad through your front end offer and through your upsells and through follow-up emails. So in other words, can you, from those that you have come in contact with through the solo ad, can you generate enough income from your front end, from your upsells, and from your follow-up emails to at least cover the cost of the ad? Once you can, and you can do that with each successive ad buy, then you can start to then move up in terms of price, and you can move up in terms of number of clicks. That's the way you really want to analyze whether or not your solo ad spending is working and when it's time to scale up. So with that, thanks, and I will see you in the next video.